What is up, guys? Welcome back to the locker room. I am your host and your favorite Kansas City girl, Kennedy Bright. And as always, what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. Get your playbooks ready, guys. This week, I actually have a special guest, and we're talking about something that's just like, it's needed to be talked about. Okay. Something I've been holding off on, but me and my friend, my guest, but she's also my friend. This is Janaa, guys. So if you're watching on YouTube,
Thanks.
did you want to say anything about you or anything before we get started?
No, I'm just really excited to be on here talking about this because it's really just conversations that need to be had, safe space for girls to talk about things that really need to be talked about. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm glad to be on here.
Yes, she lives in Phoenix, you guys. And you guys can go follow her on Instagram too, of course. I'll put it down below, but follow her TikToks. If you like the little Black girl luxury vlogs, you can follow the girl, okay? But if you do follow me like on TikTok and stuff, then or Instagram, like you've seen her, like I post her a lot. But yeah, so funny thing is me and her just were talking like this summer and realized we had like a very similar story of the same situation. And I think that everyone's always like, oh my God, like everybody wants to be with an athlete, blah, 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 blah. But there's a side to it that like, I feel like it's like the tip of the iceberg talked about, like groupies or like other girls and how they get. But I don't think like really how like toxic it can be with like the whole overall thing. So literally we have a story, both of our stories about literally, we call them cup girl and dog sitter.
Yeah.
Because that's like the idea of like, okay, so Janae's story, y'all gotta make sure her story to me was like more scary. I think like I would have had to call the cops on the girl. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you, of course, I'm gonna tell her story, but when she told me the story, I was like, wait, what? Like
crazy.
Like, anyways, I'm gonna give my input when she tells it or whatever. I think mine was like more annoying. And wait, okay, so mine happened literally, disclaimer, it'll be a year this month. Wasn't yours like this time last year?
Yeah. It was like October, November-ish. Yeah. Literally a year.
The same time. So like we've already talked to like the guys and stuff. It's cleared up. You know, there's no hard feelings in regards with them anyways. Like I mean, I ain't gonna speak for you. Do you think it, like, you did talk to him? Well, no, I know you talked to him about it, but
yeah, no, I did definitely brought it up. So
Janaa is better than me though. Janaa brought it up like it was almost like a year later. Because you brought it up this year.
Yeah, literally did not bring it up at the time at all.
No, me and her are so different. We always joke or whatever, like, what's the TikTok thing, throwing up and crying? Like, I'm gonna throw up and crying.
Yeah.
Janae's more like, she's very prideful, like, whatever. I'm like, my anxiety can't let me just not say anything. So
no, honestly.
But yeah, so like that's a disclaimer. This was like a year ago and stuff. It's an old past situation. And honestly, if you would ask me a year ago to talk about this, I would not have been able to. Because like my whole thing with mine was like, it was really triggering of like other like traumas and stuff I've been through. So it was hard for me because it affected me not just like, oh my God, like I got like really like depressed and stuff. And like I got uncomfortable. Like it was bad for me. And that's a part too I haven't even ever like talked to him about, like why it bothered me so much. And I don't think he gets the problem anyways, as to like for what it was for me, because it was like it triggered me about like different situations I had been through, and it just set me off. I couldn't go to work. I was like shaking, like crying and stuff, because I don't do well with like people like stalking or like following or like it, like I get really paranoid about it. So yeah, it affected me like crazy. Now I feel like I'm in a place, even though he and I like handled it already like last yearish or whatever, like early in the beginning of this year, I still wasn't quite in a place where I was comfortable even to talk about it, because it's not the situation itself. It's like how it has effect on me. And one thing I do want to say though, I think if anyone ever has like have anything that's like trauma related or anything like that, and it's kind of like when you talk about whatever the situation is, it takes you back to like that moment. You start feeling those exact emotions that you felt at that moment, even though you're technically over it or you're not, you know, being held captive or whatever the situation is, you still feel like it. And that's like the hardest thing. So I have to like tell myself, which I'm gonna have to after this, like, you're not in that place anymore. This is an old situation.
I was gonna say that's the thing too, how like we're different and like you bringing it up right then and then me kind of like waiting because I know there's
Yeah.
definitely like different types of people. So I feel
Right.
like people are gonna relate to you and relate to me too because
Yes.
I definitely, like you said, like the anxiety and depression part, same, was there for sure. But it's like, at least you were like telling him, you know what I mean? I was literally like suffering in silence. And
No.
like you said, but I think that's the problem because they don't understand like the magnitude of it. Like
Yes.
they really don't understand like what's going on in these situations. So it's like really frustrating.
No, and I think the difference is I think with them and probably a lot of people, you just think it's like, and for like a lot of like people that I've met, like some people don't even know about this story because I just cannot like bring myself really to tell people. But
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like people think it's just like, oh, like you find out like a guy you're talking to has another girl or but like that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when people are like calculatedly like watching you and like trying to come after you for like it's weird. Like it
The
feels
behind the scenes.
yes, it's not it's literally like
Yeah.
it's creepy. And so that's why it like feels different. I don't think they get it. Like they just kind of think just
No.
like, oh yeah. Some of them think it's cute. Like some guys like
Yeah.
it. Like no,
Right.
like there's a like a line. And like the lines in both these stories were literally like crossed.
I feel like too, just disclaimer, this is also don't be this girl. Like
Oh,
these two
that's what I was gonna
stories, if
say.
you relate to them, like please stop. Don't this is just examples of what not to be. Don't be these girls, literally.
Thank you. That was what I forgot I was gonna say that. Literally the point too in telling this is like, yeah, it's like funny or whatever, cool. But at the same time, it's like maybe you hearing how it affects someone else. That's why I want to go into about how it affected me emotionally. So then maybe that way, like you can see, oh, okay, like maybe I should stop doing that. Wait, I do that.
Yeah.
Like, and remember, this is the locker room. So this is a very safe, vulnerable place.
Right.
So we want to be real here. So, all right, time to get into it.
Telling our truth.
Right. So last year in 2020, it was actually October. First off, disclaimer about he and I. Okay, so if you've seen the one podcast episode that I made about stalking him at Whole Foods, then you get how like we can just pretty much he and I we just do whatever, you know, like he
Love
doesn't think
that
it's weird.
story.
Like he doesn't care, you know. So this is that same guy. So when we like get into like spats, we don't really argue or fight. We just bicker at each other. When we do, sometimes someone gets blocked. Like, and the weirdest thing is my sister always is like, you guys match each other energy so well. And that's why it pisses you off. I'm like, you're right. Because literally, like, I've never met someone who like will beat me to a punch. Like something I'm thinking, he already does it. So when we do, I always sometimes will notice, like, look at my Instagram following and not following like my stories. And I'll see like, oh, somebody that's related to him is like looking at my stuff. I'm like, oh, he's looking or whatever, like that. So this is how I don't normally look at my Instagram stories, like views, unless I am looking for like a particular person. So at this point, I'm just looking and I'm like, oh, okay, it was a bunch of girls who weren't following me. But at this point, I was friends with the other guy who played in the NFL, and I always would comment under his pictures. And so I think those girls were following him and then like some of his friends. So I think that they were just like kind of looking, just trying to see like, oh, who's this girl or whatever. And trying to, I guess, see if like me and him talk. We don't, but everyone always thinks we do. And so that's why like I knew those girls. Like, okay, yeah, that's why they're here. But then there were like these 3 accounts that were like troll accounts, like nothing on it, just names, whatever. And so my friend at the time, I told her, I was like, oh, I think this one's his. Like, I bet you this one's his account or whatever. The other one had nothing. She was like, I don't know about this one. It wasn't looking as like all the time. But the last one I saw actually was following people. It was following 2 people. And I'm like, okay, the first person it was following was a girl who made him her man crush Monday back in August. So I was like, okay, clearly this account is attached to someone involved like with him. Like it has to be connected to him. This account does, because why would they be following that girl? And it was following another girl. We're gonna say her name is like we'll say her name is Kinsey. And I'm like, who the heck is this girl? So I click on her page and she has a boyfriend. She's like from Texas, but she lives in Kansas City now. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Girls do cheat still even though they're in a relationship. But I was like, but how would this account know like to like follow this girl, like to watch her? So I couldn't figure out at all like what it was. So I'm like, So she's like, I was like, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna bring it up. And like I know him so well that like I'm the kind of person that I ask him everything face to face because I can able to like see his reaction. So I'm at his place, we're in the elevator, and I was joking. I was like, oh yeah, I know you be watching me on your fake account when you be blocking me. He's like, girl, what are you talking about? I was like, I know it's you. And like I showed him it was one of the ones I thought was his. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have fake accounts. I don't even remember my login. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So then I was like, also at this time, me and my friend thought it was his ex. I pulled the account up and showed him the girls that were following, that the account was following, and his face. I knew then he knew like, okay, I know who this is. So he was like, yeah, nah, like I don't know that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I think it's your ex. And he was like, really? Why would you think it's her? And I was like, well, because like him and his ex, they dated for like 6, 7 years, like since high school and stuff. So they had like, and they're still like really good friends, like so close and stuff. And at this time, some of his family had just moved back home from where he's from. I was like, so maybe when they moved back, like they had just moved back too. I was like, maybe she asked like, oh, who's like over there and stuff. Like, do you know who he like talks to and stuff? It's like, and maybe they just told her. And so now she's just looking out. Because at first, the reason it didn't bother me was because like I had respect for her because I was like, yeah, he's really quiet. He's nice. I would look out for him too. Like, I'd still look out for him. So like I just thought it was just like, who is this girl? You know, is she after him for the wrong reasons? Like, what kind of stuff does she post? So that's why at first it didn't bother me when I thought it was his ex-girlfriend, because I was like, okay, like the kind of person he is, I could see like I would be looking out for him too. And so he was like, really, you think it's her? And I was like, yeah, that's what I think. And he was like, all right, he said, well, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I'm gonna look into it. I got it. So I'm like, okay. He hit me with the Olivia Pope. It's handled. I'm like, okay. And now that I do look back at it, I think maybe he did talk to the girl about it, who I found out it is later. He probably really did. But at this point, I felt like he should have told me, yeah, I think I know who that is. Block that account.
Right.
And that's the part that had upset me, because me and him don't lie to each other. We like literally, even if it's uncomfortable, like we tell each other the truth. So I'm like, that was a part that was just weird to me. And I'm the kind of person, I never ask for names. I don't want to know anything. Like, tell me what's up. Like, yeah, I just want you to know, like, I kind of might be talking to somebody else or anything like that. Like, we tell each other everything. So I felt like he knew I wasn't going to ask him to go into detail. He just would have been like, bro, I think I know who that is. Because one thing you have to remember too, when you're talking to athletes, they can have girls come after them without them even applying pressure themselves. So that doesn't always mean that they're entertaining girls. And that's like the hard part, I think. I don't know if you can relate to that. Like, I'll have people that'll be like, oh, obviously, like something got to be going on with him and this girl. I'm like, you do realize like girls just come after these dudes and they could have never talked to them ever. Like, I don't know who this girl is at all. And so you have to also keep that into like consideration. And so that's why I don't even tell people about it necessarily who don't talk to athletes, because they just don't get that like there are girls just coming to them that have nothing to, do with it. Like, so I was like, okay. So I'm like, whatever. So I told my friend, I was like, yeah, girl. I told him I think it's her. So from there on, I kind of was posting like little stuff like by his house and stuff. So trying to like lure this person out. Like, I'm thinking at some point they're gonna contact me. Like, I know you're watching me, and it just was getting uncomfortable. I'm like, just what do you want? Like, do you want to ask me questions? Like, what is it? Right. So fast forward, it's now right after Thanksgiving. We spent Thanksgiving together, and it's literally that Sunday after like the game. And I was on his fan page. I'm on the fan page and I'm like scrolling, and they had posted like a picture from the game. And you know how it says like liked by and someone else. The only person that usually it ever would say a name would be his brother, because me and his brother followed each other. But I wouldn't see like it, or it just wouldn't say anyone's name at all. Well, this girl has the same name as one of the girls I played soccer with at Missouri State. So I was like, oh, why is she following like not him, but like his fan page? So I press it and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's not her. And I like, you swipe back out. As I'm swiping out, oh my God, my heart's racing. I see like one of the highlight tabs, and hers has like the names, and it's his dog's name. I'm like, that's a coincidence. That's the same name as his dog. So I press it, And if I like my heart like jumped because the first picture pops up, like it's his dog's face. And I'm like, wait,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that is his dog. So I'm like,
Oh,
okay. And so I'm like tapping through and I was like, oh, this is a dog sitter because he has dog sitters. So like the reason I call her the dog sitter is because he calls her, he'd be like, oh, I almost said the dog's name. I'm like, oh, we're so and so. All day with their babysitter. Blanks with their babysitter.
yeah.
Like that's what he always says, the
Yeah.
babysitter. And then I'm like, one day when I went back over there, I was like, oh, I see he's back. And he was like, his babysitter live around the corner. Like I just get him whenever I want or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he just, one minute he has him, like next minute he like doesn't. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew about, and I'm not going to talk about like what he has said because like I don't want to put his business out there. But bottom line, I knew this dog sitter existed. I knew the extent of like her job and her qualifications. We'll say that. I knew that. Okay. So I was like, oh yeah, this is a girl. But so I'll just go about my day. But something like in me was nagging at me. And mind you, also on the highlight tab, she's like calling herself his dog's mom. She's like,
Oh
would
my
put
God.
his jersey on the dog. Like, he
I
already know who
can't.
he's repping and all of this. I'm just like, this dog too, he had before he even came in the league, before like anything. So I'm like, why are you calling yourself this dog's mom? Like, what, like, he wasn't a puppy, he wasn't a baby. Like, his other dog was a puppy when he got here. Like when I met him, she was a puppy. So honestly, like if she was watching that dog and said it, I still think it's kind of weird, but not as weird because I'd be like, oh, okay, well, she does take care of them. Like I'm saying those, like they're kind of gone a lot with their babysitters. So I was like, okay, maybe she just says that because she's always taking care of the dog or whatever. But like for that one, I'm like, bro, what? Like that's kind of weird. But I was like, I know how they get, whatever. So something kept telling me like, bro, something's not adding up. So I go back and I'm clicking on her pictures. Like, I don't know why it told me to go back. And I'm scrolling through her pictures and it's one, I see a person's name. And I'm like, why is this name like sticking out? I was like, why does that name sound familiar? I click on the account, guys. It's the girl Kinsey from before, who the fake account was following. I'm like, wait, what? Click on it, and the part that made it weird was the girl Kinsey had pictures of her and the dogs that are like all on her page. So when I very first back in October literally looked and saw like that girl Kinsey's page, the girl was in my face the whole time. Like she was on her feed, and I just didn't even, because I didn't know what I was looking for. So it pissed me off. I'm like, this girl has been here the whole time. I had her this whole time.
Yeah.
So then I'm mad. So I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And it made sense. I'm like, are you serious? Like you made a fake account and followed your friend? Like, come on now. Like that was stupid. Right. So at this point, I'm heated. I text him and it's like 11 o'clock at night. He has like a very healthy bedtime routine. And so I knew he was going to be asleep. And I was like, you lied to me. It's like, you knew exactly who that account was. It's the dog sitter. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you had an idea who it was. Why didn't you like say anything? Like, this person's been trolling me. Like, this is weird or whatever. I was like, I'm very like upset with you. We need to talk like that. Of course, he didn't. And like, they go to practice and stuff pretty early. So I just kind of like let it go. I was like, waiting. I couldn't let it go. I said, you know what? So I go and look. The girl's still looking at my page the whole day. So I said, you know what? I'm going to message you. I'm taking matters in my own hand. I messaged the fake account. I said, look, I already know who you are. I already told Blank to tell you to leave me alone. Like, I don't know what your deal is. I don't know what you want, but like, I'm not your enemy. Like, just leave me alone like that. Right. And then I said, if you have something you want to say, contact me on your real account, not this fake one. So at this point, I'm in therapy and I'm talking to my therapist. Literally, I kid you not, like 20 minutes later, she messages me on her real account.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, I see you got a problem with me or something. And I'm like, what? Ew. I was like, why are you like watching me? Like, what is your deal? Why are you trolling me?
Yeah, that's the
or whatever.
Part.
And I was gonna like read I can't even read the messages because it's gonna make me heated. Bottom line, she's like, the second message in, all I said was like, bro, like why, like just leave me alone. Like, I don't know what your deal is. Like, just like stop. Listen, I ain't got no problem with you or whatever. You're the one watching me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So now you're making me mad because you're flipping it. I'm watching you. I didn't, girl. Yeah. I knew your role existed, but I did not know you, like who the person was. Right. So I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, plus, I ain't worried about call me a hoe. I ain't worried about no hoe. I know my role. And I'm like, okay, see, now you just call me out my name. You don't even know me. Like, why would you
Yeah.
do that? So now I'm mad. So I'm just like, bro, you know what? You need to go. Yeah, you're right. You know your role. Go walk the name of his dog. Let's say his dog name is
Right.
Denver. I said, you're right. Why don't you go blank and go walk Denver? Why don't you go do that? Like, go. I said, go do your job. Like, why are you on my phone or whatever? I was like, and but I do want to know. I was like, how did you even know I existed? Because he and I like we don't even have each other's numbers saved. I've always like, I don't want nobody seeing my name pop on your phone. Like the thing that was like nice about him, I was explaining this to Janaa actually when we were in the hotel after the Cowboys game. I was like, our lives are so separate. I liked it. That's why no one knew about him. That's why I don't post him. That's why, because even when he and I were friends, mind you, this is somebody I've known. Well, now it'll be going on like 5 years, but I've known him at this time for like 3 years. And for the first year, like a half, we were just strictly like friends. Like that was like he's my best friend. So I'm like, I liked it. It was separate. No one knew. There was nothing colliding. Cause like after, especially with college athletes or just dating in general, like in a smaller like setting, like it's just always drama. And it just was nice because I didn't have that. Like it was just we could hang out. It's not like, oh my God, anybody gonna see us and stuff. Like, so I liked it. So we kept it like super. I was like, I don't want anybody knowing. So I'm like, how did you even find out like who I was? Like that was the part that was bothering me the most. I could not figure out how this girl knew who I was. She's like, because you'd be running from somebody who you run your mouth to or whatever about him. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I don't like at this time, probably my ex friend at the time, but I was like, how would she even have found her to even like she was following me before me and that girl even stopped being friends. And the thing is, I just noticed in October, like, I don't know how long the account was there because like I said, I don't ever look. When I go back and look at the account, y'all, now she's following 5 people. And I looked, all the girls are like, they're like all girls who are either like following him or following his siblings. Like, so I don't know what she's doing. Like, she on some different type of time. Okay. I don't know if the girls he comments on his pictures. I don't know. But now she got 5 people. Remember, it was just the one girl and her friend. Now she unfollowed her friend, which makes me think he did talk to her. And was like, bro, we know it's you. Like, you following Kinsey. So I think that's like, so she's probably like, okay, wait, let me go ahead and like just unfollow my friend. And now she got 5 new girls.
Just like, it's just weird about the like watching the stories. Like, I just don't like, why are you
watching the stories, comments? I mean, like, she's one of the first people watching my stuff like every single time. And so I started like when I would post something, I would go back like 2 minutes later just to like look to try to say, I'm like, bro, this person's like, you have to have me on post notification. Like you writing comments, deleting them and stuff, like it's weird. So at this point, we're going back and forth or whatever. And I'm like, bro, like you're not about to sit up in here and like keep calling. And I'm gonna say this is a tip. Anytime a girl's like, I know my role or whatever, and that's what she did. She says this. And first of all, she calls him by his first name, and it made my skin crawl because I don't call him by his first name. And now I never can because every time I hear it, I think of her. Anyways, so she's like, blank. I can just ask him because, he's going to tell me. And I'm like, I think he did tell you. I think he told you what was up. And that's why you were watching me. You did go to him. Exactly. I was like, exactly. I was like, if you have something, if you want to know, like talk to him. Because girls, anytime someone says to you, I know my role or whatever, first of all, you're in my phone. So clearly you don't know your role.
Right. You're trying to figure out.
Thank you. 2, maybe you do know your role and you're just not happy with it. And you're trying to figure out, well, what is her role? And that's what me and my friend Josh always be like, play your role. Okay. Right. But anyways, what did Cardi B said in Bodak Yellow or whatever, to that little play her role, like play your role. Watch the dog. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm not talking to talk trash. But anyways, so I'm sitting here and I'm like, when you say that, it's because she wants me to be like, no, I do this with him. We do this. We do that. I know I'm number one, or I know, like, you want me to. You're trying to bait me into telling you like what my actual role is. I'm never going to tell you that because you don't want nobody else taking your plays, taking your playbook. You can't. I learned that in high school. This one girl, we didn't even talk about it. I learned my lesson. I don't talk to nobody else about nothing with me and somebody, like, no. So I'm sitting here like, I know what you're doing. And at that moment, it was confirmation. I'm like, okay, so he did tell me truth. Like I said, I knew about this girl. I just didn't even know a name or face because I didn't want to. I feel like the minute you do, it just, So I'm like, okay, so obviously what he said about you was true. Okay, cool, because you're showing me that obviously. All right. So she's still going or whatever. Like I said, I don't remember. All I remember I said to her, she called me racist. Because I did say this. I'm gonna own what I said. I said, if you sit up here and think I'm threatened by some white bee, I did say that. I was like, you have to be out your mind. Because that's why she has called me multiple names. And I'm gonna say that I feel like society has made it, especially men, where you're supposed to be threatened by women of other races as a black woman. Like you're supposed to be intimidated. And she's one of those girls, and black girls, you probably will relate when you run into those girls who think like black guys like me because I got shoe game and I'm this or that, but I'm not black. Like I'm better, because I think she's used to those black guys who like only white girls because black girls are this, black girls are that. So she's like, I'm the token white girl, because I got the shoes, I got Jordans, I got, like all of that. And I'm like, if you sit up here and think I'm about to be threatened, like you want me to be threatened by you because you're white and I'm black and I'm supposed to now be like, oh my God, he probably has this, like it's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Like you're not about to come up here calling me out my name. You don't even know me. And you've stalked me as well. And then you want to act like, girl, I don't care what kind of shoes, what streetwear you wear. I don't care about any of it. I don't care about the color of your skin. Like that's not going to affect me. And so that's the reason I had said that I want to clear that up, because I feel like it's like a tactic. Not all, like I have friends who are white who date black dudes, but they're not like that. They're not like the ones who think like, oh, see, yeah, they like me because if y'all know which ones I'm talking about that act like that. And she acts like that. Like, excuse me. So that's why I'm like, no, don't, like, you're not gonna do that. So she was like, you racist cunt. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, whatever. Blocks. This is why I'm in therapy, y'all. I'm in my therapy session. My therapist is telling me to stop replying.
Oh my God.
She's like, Kennedy, stop. I was like, I can't. And she goes, okay, well, at least tell me what she's saying now. I'm like, she said this. Back and forth about it. At this point, when I'm waiting for her reply, I'm blowing his phone up. I do know he's at practice, but I don't care.
Yeah.
He's going to see it when he gets out. I'm like, you need to get this dog sitter. So like, I'm messaging her. And then that's making me more anxious because like, oh God, now I got to wait for him to reply and all of this. Yeah. So I'm not going to say like what he and I talked about because he's a real private person. I always say he's kind of like Kanye West. How Kanye West like is not on the keeping up with the Kardashians. Like I don't want to be in it and stuff. Like he's real like private. He don't do like social media really anyway. So I won't say like what he and I talked about, but we did like talk about it. But after that though, the part that like set me off. Oh no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. It didn't stop there. She also was on my TikTok. So I after that moment, I blocked, now that I knew her name, girl, I blocked that girl on Facebook. I blocked her on LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, of course, Instagram. And I'm like, shoot, but now I gotta be on the lookout for her fake accounts. This girl would then go and comment, and she's still trolling me now all on my TikTok. After we've already gotten to it on Instagram. And I was like, look, I finally contacted her, one of them, because she would comment stuff that I'm like, bro, I know you're. Anyways, I was like, look, do you have a problem with me? I was like, I don't have a problem with you. And I'm the kind of person, I was like, if you want him that badly, like you can have him. Like, I don't know what you like, you don't like, just leave me alone. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore and stuff. So then I messaged her back on the post. I was like, did you see my DM? She's like, yes, I did. I said, so you gonna reply? Like, hello? Like I'm telling you, I don't care. Like, leave me alone at this point. Right. At this point, this is like weeks later. And I contacted him again. This is like late December. Like, she's still doing it. I'm sending him like all the pictures and stuff, like screenshots, like, look, like tell her to leave me alone. And so after that, though, after the exact moment, it really like triggered me. The whole situation did. I couldn't go to work. Like, I had to call out of like work and stuff. I was like always nervous because, like I said, that's a whole other story about which stuff like it triggered me by or whatever, because I don't even feel like it. But if you've seen my bad romance challenge or whatever, like I mentioned how I got jumped and all that and stuff. So like, I don't do well with that. I don't do well with people watching me because that's like what happened like with my whole ex or whatever who assaulted me, like watching me and then found out where I went to school and like transferred here and stuff. So like, I don't like feeling like I should be on guard and not knowing that I'm not. Like if someone's after me or like looking after me, I want to know so I can like be on like have my guard up. But I did not like the
Exactly.
fact that I didn't know I was supposed to, basically. And it got to a point where the first time I actually like went back to his place after the everything, I literally couldn't go to sleep till like 6, 7 in the morning
Yeah.
because I was too afraid to go to sleep because I
Yeah.
was like, bro, is she gonna like break in here? Like it made me like super like paranoid. And I was afraid to like walk to
Mhm.
my car at his place. I already, due to my trauma, I'm already like a little paranoid and stuff about other people and everything. But girl,
Yeah.
that wasn't it. Okay. That was
Ugh.
what does help is like now I live in Texas. So that works. I'll be
Yeah.
nervous. Like I'll be at work a lot of times, like having panic attacks. Like I just know she's gonna walk in here. One girl did walk in and her hair was like hers and stuff. It wasn't her. And, you know, we wear masks now, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, shoot, like how I didn't like it. I
Yeah.
did
No,
not. And I
it's
don't ever talk
not.
about my job and stuff. But the thing is, like, you might be able to figure. So I just really have to watch what I do now. But
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm, it wasn't
No,
it.
it's just really these situations, like you said, like you literally become paranoid
Yes.
because somebody is like literally stalking you. I feel like now like society is like starting to try to make it like I don't know, more normalized. Like, oh, if
Yeah.
you're stalking their Instagram, like it's normal. Like it's like it gets taken too far though. Like this isn't just like, oh yeah, I can stalk somebody and then you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like it's whatever. No, it's really not whatever when it starts affecting like once that person catches on to it, it's really like a whole nother side of that. It's not just like,
Yes.
oh, it's no problem. I was just stalking. Like it's just I don't understand it. I don't. I
And
just
I
don't
felt
have the
like,
time and energy to
no.
do that.
And I
Like
felt like I'm like, I don't know how far this person's gonna go. That's what I feel about like
right.
your story when you tell it. I was like, how far? Like, you don't know how. Like, if you're gonna do all of this, and then like have all these accounts, like I have blocked multiple accounts on like my TikTok, like where I've known it's her based off like the stuff she says and everything. And it's like I
Right.
want to be able to live my life freely.
I think like the part for me that's like most worrisome is like how are you finding us in the first place? Like
Yes.
that unknown factor right there is just not sitting because like you said, I'm also a very private person.
Yeah.
So it's just like I really don't be putting like I can, you know, I get some people they aren't private. Like they put stuff
Yeah.
everywhere or
I don't
like,
even
you know,
follow
even
him.
anything. Right. Like
We
it
don't
was
follow
just
each other.
like
I don't comment like nothing. So I'm like, how the heck did
so
you?
you really had to go out of your way to
Yes.
find like that's the problem. It's like
Right.
what?
And
How are
I
you even finding me?
And so the only person we had mutual, like that I even would have had an idea was one of my was my contact to him. And he's like, wait, what's going on? He's like, yo, bro, like, no, I definitely like me and her ain't even friends right now anymore. I definitely didn't and stuff. Months later, he's like, he'll see her. I'm talking, well, let me not say his name. I'm talking to my friend. And he said, like, he'll see her out the bars and she'll be asking him about me. Like, does she ever ask about me? Like, what? And he's like, no, but she be calling you the dog sitter.
Yeah,
And that's the thing,
yeah,
seeing her face, bringing up her like her real name and all that, like it triggers me. So like that's why everyone calls her the dog sitter. And so
yeah,
like him, my sister, they always like, oh, like when we talk about it,
yeah.
but it's just like he's like, yeah, no, bro. She's always asking me about you. Like when I see her out, and I'm like, why? Like, leave
Are
me
you
alone. Like
obsessed?
it's I don't know how she found me. First, I'm like, dang, did she find like my underwear or something at this place? Which at that point, how would you lay behind?
Right.
But I don't, girl, listen, I don't know. And that's the thing, that unknown like factor. Like, how the
Yes,
heck?
that's like
And I think sometimes the guys, because they do think like, oh, like this means someone really wants me. I'm always like,
hmm
keep your people like in check. Like, I can't,
right.
I had to go to
Well,
therapy
that's
every day that whole like rest of the week because like my therapist did not trust me like to like come back next week. Like, that's how messed
yeah,
up I'll be sitting there for hours. Like, I can't breathe. Like, I don't know. And like, I'd just be like crying and stuff. Like, I didn't
yeah.
like that.
Also, it just makes yourself look bad. Like now we're sitting here, like we're laughing about it, like cup girl and dog sitter. Like you literally have names now. Like it's
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like you don't want to be that girl where like people literally are just like, because it's like obviously we're not going to address them by their names, but it's like you're literally to the point where we're
Yes.
addressing you by these things. Like it's embarrassing for you. Like
Literally.
you don't want to be that type of person.
No.
Like it's crazy.
It is. And it makes it hard too for like he and I, because I'm just really like, yeah, like I'm glad we're good and stuff, but I still like I'm so paranoid. Like, I don't know. I think because, like I said, I live here, it makes it easier, like a lot easier.
Yeah.
Janaa, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I have a similar story. I'm sure we all have stories like these, honestly, because it's
Sadly.
just, I mean, yeah, sadly, literally. But
I don't think anyone,
mine,
yours went to a different extent, though.
yeah, mine was a little bit off, like just out of there. I just don't understand why she did this. But basically, I was talking to a guy. We had been talking for a while, for like some months literally, and I have a business where I sell cups, like jeweled, like custom cups.
They're so nice.
And so randomly, just like you, I got, well, I don't know if you said she followed you, but this girl followed me.
On her real
And
account.
so yeah, on her
Right?
real
Yeah.
account. So I go to the profile, and it was weird because me and him had no common followers, like no common followers. He had just moved here. Like it was not anything like that. So once I seen her, and oh, one person that you guys have in common that you guys are both following. So that immediately like sparked something where I was like, like I don't know about this, but I'm just like the type where I'm like, whatever, like I'm not about to like, press him about somebody random following, because like you said, there could be random girls, like literally that, like you just can't press about like every single little thing. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. And so like some time went on and stuff, and I see that she's like going to the games, that he like was at, obviously, that he was playing. And so I'm like still not thinking anything of it, because I'm like, maybe it's just coincidence. And she was like posting things like, oh, this is where I go all the time. Like I'm always at the games, X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, okay, this is clearly like she does this all the time. Like maybe it's just whatever.
We're saying that to try to piss you off, but go on.
Yeah, literally. So I post stuff about my business, about my cups on my page, and she like swipes up on it, and she's like, hey, like, can you make me a cup? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, and I'm still skeptical because like you said, like, it's literally, she followed me on her real account. We're the only common follower. She's at the game. So now I'm already like, this is weird. But so she's like, yeah, can you make me a cup, whatever. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'm gonna do that. So she pays me for the cup, buys the cup, everything. I finally get the cup done. Exactly. Finally get the cup done. And we're like arranging for us to like meet up and everything. And like, mind you, I also, just backing up a little bit too, I had made him a cup already. So like he had one present like in his house somewhere. Like he literally had the cup. So now I'm making her a cup. So then I'm like thinking in my head, like now I'm at the point where I am like starting to think about it. Like I'm like, okay, if I make this and like she's messing with him, he's gonna see that she has one of these and be like, wait, this is who and then, or she's gonna see that he has one. Like it was just like, okay, so I don't know, this is weird, but whatever, I'm gonna keep it going. So we arranged for me to like bring the cup over, and at this point I've literally discussed to people, like I've talked to my sister, I'm like, bro, what if I go here and it's like a setup, like he's there, like, because it could have been like she wanted me to know that like she was messing with him. So she could have been like, yeah, like meet up here. And then he'd be with her and she'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm just picking up the cup from her. And like, I see him with her or something. So I'm like already like anxious. Right. So I'm already like, bro, what if this is a setup? What if they're like,
or she tries to kill you?
Right. Or they already know. I was just
wait, because didn't she say she could come to your house? And then you were like, no, I'll just come to yours.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'll come to you. Like I said that immediately because I did not want her. Since I was already skeptical, I didn't want her to like know where I lived or anything. Because I was like, no, because normally I do pickups, like people come get their cups, but for her, I was like, no, I'm gonna go take it to you. So literally there, and then I get there, I give her the cup and everything. And mind you, first of all, this is just a side note, but I'm literally waiting there for like 30 minutes. Like she wasn't even home. Like she told me to come at a time and she's not even there. So I'm literally sitting outside of her house waiting and waiting. And then she's talking about like, oh, sorry, girl, I had to go get food. And I'm like, okay, so now you're just like stringing this about, like, it was just really getting, and I'm like, bro, what? So I'm like, I don't know if I should bring this up to him, because at that point I'm like, I feel like I should be like, do you know who this is? Like, but again, I'm not trying to like be that crazy girl that everybody always talks about, like, oh my God, she's bringing people to me, and yeah, exactly. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna bring it up, whatever. So literally time goes, oh, and then another red flag, I posted it on my story because I wanted him to see like that I made a cup for this person. It's on my story. I tagged her and everything. She didn't even repost the tag either.
Of course she didn't.
Another red flag. So by this point, I know something's going on. Like, there's no more like stupid, like, oh, maybe something. It's like, no, all of that stuff added together. I'm like, I know something's going on at this point. But again, I was like, kind of just like, I'm just gonna stand off from it, and I'm not going to like, you know, like bring it up and be like pressed about it, just because that's literally like how I was at the time. I feel like now I'm completely different, but at that point I was like, I'm just gonna be like, okay, that's how you want to play it. Like, I see you have something going on there. I'm just gonna be like, noted, and then continue on and like not say anything or whatever. So time literally continues to go on, and then like weeks later I see her post him on her story, like in the game, like on her TV. She's watching him and like post him and like at him in it. And I'm like, okay, now you got to be kidding me, because you really went out of your way. Like, I just don't understand why, if you thought that I talked to him or like we were seeing each other or whatever, you wouldn't just DM me and literally be like, hey, sorry to like bother you or whatever, but I just wanted to know if you know him or if you talked to him, because maybe I'm kind of talking to him or something like that. Like, you went all the way to, one, I don't know how you found my account. Two, like, yes, I follow him, but like, again, we don't even be like liking, like, how many girls follow him? How many girls like his pictures? Like, it wasn't even like like, this is pinpointed. I never commented on a picture. I never posted him, like nothing. So I'm just like, one, I don't even know how you found that. Two, it's like, why couldn't you just say something instead of doing the behind the scenes? It's like, you followed me. And like you said, with the like one of the first people to watch your story constantly, like that's what was going on. It's like, you're constantly like trying to check and like make sure and like see where I'm at. And like, there was times when I literally was taking a snap in his car and posting it, and she's first view on there. I'm like, I'm at that point, it's like, I'm gonna start giving you something, like you said, like I'm posting around the neighborhood, like I'm gonna start giving you stuff to look at, since you're clearly on here just searching for things to find. Like, I just, like, I want you
to come say something to me already. Can we get this over
exactly with? Why can't you just be like a straight up person? And like, that's literally the difference between me now. I feel like, even learning from that situation, like, if I have suspicions about a girl, I'm gonna bring it to her at this point, because I'm not going to stalk her, watch the stories, like at the point where you feel like, I really want to watch this girl's story. At that point, like, you're already too down bad. You should just like come to her and be like, hey, didn't really want to like do all this stalking, just want to ask you like XYZ. Because it's like, I'm just not going to allow myself to like get to the point where I'm literally stalking somebody to the point where it's scary. Like, you're buying things from their business to get close to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me see where she's at, like what she's doing.
Paid
like,
for
you know
it.
what I mean? Like, paid for it.
And didn't you say he had to like make his account private because he said she kept doing stuff like
so that like, it just started getting even worse again, because I had like, after that point, we like stopped talking. And then we like, there was a later time when we started talking again. And at this point I was like, well, should I bring it up now? Because I'm like, I feel like that was like kind of a big factor that because
she never brought it up.
Alone. Exactly. I literally was like, noted, and I kept going, and I didn't even like bring it up or whatever. But so I think I did post like a subliminal message on my story though, and I was like, once your hoes start following me, like, I'm good off of it. And he just like ignored it, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I brought it up, and he's like, yeah, like, she's been watching my page. Like, I had to make my page private and stuff like that. So, you know, she's clearly like still trying to keep up with me and like see who I'm talking to and like what I'm doing. And I'm like, so that was already like weird to me. that you literally had to go to the extent of making your page private just to like keep somebody off of it, like from watching you and stuff like that. So that was already weird, but I feel like it made it even worse because I was like, well, now me talking to you again, you're saying she's like stalking your page. Like she knows where you live now because you guys have clearly like been talking or whatever. So I'm like, at this point now, my safety's in jeopardy. Like you said, she could pop up at any time when I'm going to my car, be watching out here, be coming here, watching who you have here, whatever the case is. So it's like, it literally becomes like an unsafe thing. And like mentally, that's like really, like I said, they just go about their business. Like the guys are like clearly don't care. Like I'm going about my business, whatever. Meanwhile, we're here like, is somebody literally watching me? Like, is somebody gonna like literally?
And now she knows what your car looks like. How do you know she can take pictures of your tags?
Literally. Like that's why I said, because that's what it was like, keep your enemies closer type thing. That's the vibe I was getting. Like you wanted to see insight into my life. Like what car does she drive? Where does she live? What does she do? What is like you're watching?
Because I think you're
trying to.
Because your page says you're like cup page. Doesn't it say like local pickup?
Yeah.
So she probably thought you were gonna be like that's you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's why she played with the cup. Like, girl.
Yeah. That's why I was like, nope, I'm not playing this game. You already gave it away. Like you gave away that you guys both followed each other. You're at the games. I'm like, nah, I'm not even gonna play with that like that. It's just crazy though. I would never, I just don't, I have way too much pride to watch somebody's story who I don't even like, I don't know. I just can't do I can't do it.
And literally over again. And that was literally. And that was the thing too, like when I had like brought up to him, I was like, she had like, because like I was saying, he is like a like private person, like all this stuff of like the dog thing was like a lot of stories, like a lot of them. And she even like on her TikTok, she had pictures like videos in his house with like his sister and stuff. The only thing that didn't bother me was because the dates, I don't know, maybe she posted them late, but he wasn't even in town. So I was like, okay, so she's over there. But excuse me, it was just like, he was like, and I told him, and like the one thing I said, he's like, I didn't know she was doing all that. Like I took care of it. I didn't know all that. He used to have his dogs and stuff on his one of his highlight things. After I told him about that, his dogs was gone. They was not on there anymore. Like I told him, I was like, I'm just saying, like, I think she wants people to be like, I mess with this athlete. Like because it's a red flag. You're like, I feel like if you ever value anything, you're just gonna keep it private. Like that's just kind of the truth about it. You're not gonna make it a whole like, oh, like let everyone know or whatever. And I'm just like, bro, why are you doing that?
And also, if a guy ever makes you feel like you have to do all of that, I gotta follow her, I gotta buy from her business, I gotta keep her close, I gotta see what she's doing, I gotta buy you know what business. I mean? Like it's like at that point you should probably reevaluate because it shouldn't be that hard. It's not going to be that hard. Like you're gonna be good. You're not gonna have to do all that. And that's the thing. Neither of us felt like we had to do that. We weren't doing that. We weren't doing that with them at all. And they're the ones that are like, because apparently they know their role, right? They're the ones that know their role. They're the ones that are on top. Yet you're the ones that are going through the most trouble trying to figure things out. Like, I don't understand why that is. He never brought you up. Literally, because I didn't know anything about you. Somewhere down the line, we were brought up to the point where you found us. You found our account. Whether he brought you up or whether you found something, like we were never there. So it's like, clearly he really must have been keeping you to the, I don't know.
Letting you know straight up, this is what's up.
Exactly.
No, and that's the thing. Like, that's why, like, I hate it. Because at first I always was like, oh, like, I got so many, like, funny stories about us and, like, lessons I've learned. But I'm like, I can't even talk about my stuff on here. Because, like, I know, like, she's listening. Like, I can't even, because I don't want, like, it's different when, like, no one knows who you're talking about. Completely different. You give people little fake names, whatever. But, like, I can't even talk about anything because I know, like, it's just, like, you can't even live your own life, like, the way you literally want it.
It's just sad at that point. It's sad because, I mean, honestly, we know that neither of these two girls talk to them anymore, or at least are like with them or whatever you want to call it. So it's like you really went out of your way, like, oh, I got the prize at the end of the day. You something. You may think you're really doing something by trying to like take the top spot or like knock somebody off by doing all this. And at the end of the day, you're still not it. Like, it's still not you.
There was this whole like situation or whatever. That's why I like laughed at it, because literally I'm like, at one phase, like we just like weren't talking anymore, but she still was doing it. And I'm like, see, here's the sad part. I'm not even talking to him anymore. And because you're not like his top, you're not his number one, you still think that I'm sitting in the throne, like in my seat. Baby, the seat's been open. He just didn't give it to you. Like, I'm not even here anymore.
You don't even know. That's so
like, that was the thing. I was like, bro, why is she doing all this? Like, I'm not even in my seat. I gave my seat up. I got up. I walked away.
Yeah.
I've been away from my seat for months.
Like, girl, it's someone else. And it's already somebody else you need to be worried about. And you're still on the wrong.
I'm like literally sitting here like, bro, you're literally going after. Like, that's when I knew at that moment, I was like, yeah. So he told the truth about y'all, clearly, because you still don't have my seat. He still didn't give you my spot. And you still think that I'm somebody you need to watch. Whole time I'm like, I'm talking to like other dudes. And she
no, it's just not a good look. Like I said, that's one thing I wish I did was bring it up at the time. So I feel like I did also learn that too. But even when I did finally bring it up, like, I feel like it's just like he was telling me like, yeah, like she had a lot of insecurities. Like, I'm like, well, I was working uphill with her, whatever, which guys always throw that around. Like, oh, she was insecure. Like, so it's like, I don't really like take that all into, that far into consideration, but it's just the fact that that's exactly how you get labeled when doing stuff like that. Like, he could never say that about me. I never gave you the satisfaction of being like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we were chilling, like we're chilling. And then these are people that are coming after us where you obviously made them feel like they were insecure in their spot or insecure in whatever they were doing. Like, we were never insecure in the spot. So it's like, and then at the end of the day, like, it's just, we are still the people that they would be contacting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like you do all of that and then literally end up with nothing still at the end of the day. So you just made yourself look bad. You really made it hard for other people like us. Like, it's literally gives you anxiety and like literally feeling like you have somebody after you, like constantly watching you, like done all of this to not even end up with the guy at the end. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not.
And especially too, like for me, like what helps, I guess, if you're a female who involved with athletes, especially like if you're dealing with like athletes that are like really big at your school or just like in the league, whatever, and you are going to have to deal with stuff like this, sadly. And it has nothing to, like, and that's the thing. I think he thinks I was upset with him because of what she was doing and all that. No, because he can't control a whole nother person. Even if that was his kid, you can't literally control them. That's not the problem. The only problem I had was like how he just didn't let me know, like, yeah, I think I know who that is. Like, you need to block that account. Or like, I'm gonna take care of it. And it's fine. He did say that, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's what I was upset about. And I think he thinks I'm upset about, I don't know, just her stalking me in the beginning. But my thing is, you're going to have to deal with, like, sadly, these situations or whatever, rather you have the most faithful man or not, you're going to have to deal with it. And I think for me, what always like brought me back down when I would be like upset, I would remember like the moments that I was there, like when he was like vulnerable, like moments that he would have me around, like the important moments or whatever. I'm like, who did he want to spend those moments with? These are once in a lifetime moments. Like, who did he want to be there? Who was there? Me. So I'm like, and that's the thing. That's why I don't have to constantly sit here and wonder about, oh, is there anyone else? Is it because I know, like, when those important moments happen, it's Kennedy. Like that's why, like, it. So it's like, girl, if you ever think that I'm worried about you, like, come on, let's talk about these moments.
Well, even to your point too about like, like not getting over it. Well, also not wanting to know. I think I relate to that too, just because it's like, keep your hose in check. Like at the end of the day, I feel like everybody who, I don't want to just generalize it to athletes just because it's really like men in general. It really is. It's just like, it may get a little bit more magnified in like athletes, but like, there's going to be girls like after, if you have a guy who's like successful, who's attractive, whatever, just like women, like we know guys come after us, they DM us, they do whatever all the time. Like it's the same thing for guys. So it's like, But none of those people should be contacting, should be like, I shouldn't be able to have any worrisome problems about that. So it's like, you really need to keep that in check. Like, I just rather not know. I'd rather you keep those people in check, because if you are doing that, do it respectfully. Like, I don't understand why I have to be involved. Why do I need to be, worrying about my safety and things like that? Like, you should be keeping that in check, literally should be in line. Like you said, like, even one thing I did like about like your story or situation, like when you did bring it to him, he's like, oh no, like I'm going to handle it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about it, whatever. Like, even if he did bring that up to her, it's just like, that's even a little bit better, because it's like, you're at least being like, you know what? Yeah, that's like my bad. Like, I shouldn't have had her. So it's like, even if she was to like unfollow the friend trying to like undo what she had already done, it's just kind of like, well, at least he said something, because then it's like, that's when I feel more comfortable. It's like, just keep them in line and understand, like, okay, no, this is the girl who I actually really do like, or whatever the case may be. I don't need to be having random girls or any and everybody coming at her, following her, stalking her, doing all that. Like, no, that's just a no for me. As soon as that stuff starts happening, as soon as girls are following me, at this point, it really just needs to be automatic. It needs to be automatic cut off, because I just can't do it. It's too much.
Yeah. And I think that's like he had said that, but when it got brought up like that last time, like he don't like talking about like uncomfortable stuff. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So I never felt like I really got to like have the type of discussion I wanted to with him about it.
It's like, you're always constantly going to be thinking about that. Like, even in like what I learned is like going back after, like you cut him off the first time or whatever, say you end up going back again. Like, I even bringing up, about this, but I found a hair.
Oh yeah.
Literally found a hair. I was using the restroom, and I'm like, using the restroom, and I just see literally a hair on the floor. Like, I wasn't even looking for anything. I just seen it.
And it's not his hair.
It's like it's not his hair. It's a girl hair. And it's the same type of hair that
it's long.
Has. Yeah. It's the same type of hair that she has. So I'm like, it could have been a million. I don't know where that hair was from. Right. I don't know whose hair it was. It could have been from I have no idea. But your mind automatically goes there. Just like you said about the sweatpants. It could have been the neighbor. It could have been a random. I don't know. Yeah. But my mind automatically is going there. So it's like, that's why it creates such a bad situation, because it's like, even when you do try to get over it, it's just like, it's constantly going to be like a worry and a problem and a thing now, because you literally let somebody come into this and like ruin it, basically. Like, basically just like stalk you, make you get inside your head. Like, man, it's just like crazy. It's crazy. That's why it's like, I would rather a guy who like respects me enough to not even put me in that position. Correct. Like I said, just to keep them in line, even if you do have them type energy. Like, I shouldn't know about them. I shouldn't be the one. Like, it's not okay. It's not. But also, don't be the girls. This is the main point. Don't be those type of girls. Like, if you have to question, if you have to do all this extra stuff, just like really reevaluate the situation. Like, why am I doing all this? Why am I going behind the scenes? Why am I creating fake accounts? Why am I watching stories? Why are you doing that? Do you feel like there's something that houses. You don't? Right. Literally, he has to make his page private because of you. It's at that point, like, girl.
Right. Please. He got to take his precious dogs off his highlight tab.
Right. It's like, wow.
But anyway,
never fully get over it. I feel like until you have that, unless you give that person a chance, I think you really have to sit down with them, like you said. Like, when you can get to a place where you can genuinely talk to them about it, and like it won't make you upset anymore. Like you said, like, I really thought about like what his reactions could be. I'm ready to share this. Like, you have to literally sit down, talk to that person about what happened, and their response literally needs to be like, I'm never going to put you in that position again, basically. Exactly. And if it's like less than that, it's just still, and us girls, like, we'll really like somebody to the point where even though they may not have that response, we'll still try it again. But I promise, like 9 times out of 10, it's still going to be that same problem, because they haven't got to the point where they really realize like, wow, this is really not okay. Like, this is something that shouldn't be happening. Until then, It's just
Yeah.
a mess. Like it's a mess.
And that was the thing, I think, when we were trying again, like I said, and I wouldn't say that night or whatever. I never told him that I didn't sleep the whole night. And at first I had just chalked it up to like, oh, I don't have like Benadryl, I don't have anything to go to sleep. But he's the only place I can go to sleep and just sleep. Like I don't have to take medicine, like nothing. And the next day I was so like sick to my stomach. I was so anxious, and like it just started up again. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not really ready. I don't think I can do this yet. And it was really harder because I was like, my like safe place. And I was like, it's not even safe. I'm laid here like this.
Yeah. It's literally like everything gets ruined. Like your peace gets ruined. Like you just don't even think about it in the same way that you like literally were before. It's just you honestly, because even too with my story, I started to think that when I did address it to him and he's like, I had no idea. Like I had no idea about the cup. I had no idea she did any of that. But he was like, well, now that I think about it, I seen the cup like at her place one time. But I'm like, I feel like I couldn't even believe him about that because like I said, I had posted the girl, like her name and everything when I made the cup. So it was like weird to me for him to say I didn't know about the cup. Oh, how did you not know about the cup? Because I posted it on my story with her name. And then you saw the same cup because he watched my story. You saw the same cup. Oh, yeah, he did watch at her house. So you definitely knew. I think it's sometimes you can't even take everything guys say about like us girls know too. Like guys lie too. They could be telling them one thing, telling you one thing. So it's like it is to some credit that guys could be lying about things and like trying to make it seem like, oh my God, I had no idea. But like really they did have some idea. But even then, just go to girls as girls. Like as much as we joke about like, don't come to me woman to woman. Like I would rather you do that than stalk me to the point where I'm concerned about if you're hiding out at his place or something like that. Like I would rather you just be like, hey girl, I mess with this dude. I kind of was suspicious you were too. Like, let's get to the bottom of it. Cause it's like at the end of the day, why do you even want somebody why do you even want somebody who is messing with somebody else where you have to literally tiptoe around all the time anyway? So you should just do that for yourself, like to get to the bottom of it. Like, don't waste anyone's time. Just get to the bottom of it. Like, right. It's just like the guys definitely have accountability in it too. But I think the main thing here, since we are focusing on the girls, it's like, just don't be that girl. Like, just don't be that girl. If you have to do the most, just know that that's probably something you shouldn't be in anyways. Like, they're going to make you feel secure anyway. Like, I never had a problem. I never was felt to feel like I had to do all that. I was never made like, you know what I mean? Even though those situations happened. And then I started to be like, whoa, like who is this person? But off rip, I never felt the need to do that. So off rip, if you felt the need to do that, should probably cut it off. Because at the end of the day, he was messing with me. We had been literally talking to each other, dating, whatever, for months. So I don't know however long she had known him or was talking to him or whatever, but whole time. So it's like you weren't, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know, just don't be these girls. That's all I can say. It's just not a good look. It's really not. It's not. That's the thing. I'm trying my hardest, you guys, because like I don't want to then me and him are good. And I don't want to go backwards. Okay. Because I know he watches my stuff. So I don't want to go backwards. But as much as I just want to, just go in. Literally scars you. I really genuinely feel like it scars you. Like the extent that it's gotten taken to nowadays is kind of crazy. We don't need to normalize stalking. I think everybody does. Maybe we should talk about like healthy. There's a healthy level and an unhealthy level. I think that's what it is. Because I think everybody does a little bit of digging. It's called research. Like, it's a little bit. Yeah, like everybody does a little bit. But once you go to the point where the other people can know, I don't even want to say that because it's like you shouldn't even just be trying to like hide so much to where you just like don't get caught. That's not good either necessarily. Yeah, that's what she was trying to do. When you're in story views, when you're in followings, when you're messaging them, commenting, any of that type of stuff. And again, messaging them about stuff that has nothing to do with the situation, that's still a problem. Like, why are you talking to them about anything else? Like, it's just weird at that point. I think you should just come out and say it, because it's like, I just think there's a healthy level and unhealthy level, and it starts to get unhealthy when you are literally just going out of your way. It's crazy. I can't.
You know, like one of my friends, so we had did a podcast episode together, she and I did, and literally she contacted me like some months ago and was like, I need you to take those podcast episodes down for a while.
Really?
Like the trolls were getting bad or whatever, like over a guy in the league or whatever. She's like, this is ridiculous. Like they were like harassing her on like her real like her account and stuff. Then they were like trying to find, like, it's like weird. Like I don't. And that's why I have a problem when guys, like I'll talk to guys and I'm like, I like girls that are crazy. I'm automatically like, no.
Oh God.
Because now my automatic going to crazy is that. And I don't need any, like, I don't, just thinking back to it, I'm like, I don't want to go back to that place again. Like I cannot do it.
I don't. The anxiety, it's just not worth it. Like I just know the feelings. Like you can feel those feelings again whenever, like you just take yourself to that place that you were in, and it literally, like I can't do it. I can't do it. And there's no way. It's literally like your health is just like crazy. Like you said, depressed, like not eating, like literally feel sick to your stomach. Like, oh God, it's just not it. Over for what?
So do you have anything else that you want to say?
No, I think that's the basis, really. Like, honestly, it's just the world we live in now. But you know what? Like I said, these stories need to be told because I feel like people can learn from them. I definitely learned from it. I learned from the situation. So, I mean,
it's not even just that I learned from it. I just have like now more issues from it more than anything. We do appreciate Cup Girl's contribution to your business. Thank you.
Definitely. That's why I had to see it through. It's literally like that. Got to see it through, my way. Like I had to see it through. Like I was like,
you're gonna pay me
to see this one through, right?
To do my job. Okay, sure.
Yeah, basically paid me to fall back. Girl, go ahead.
Right.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
That's you. Ain't got nothing but love for you. What'd you say? Yeah. Do your thing, boy. Now we're about to
gave me the cup so that okay, you're right. She literally said, I'll pay you to stop. I'll pay you to stop.
Right. So say it. Like, girl, bye. For her stylish cup. We literally about to bring out some dog sitter and Cup Girl merch. I'm just kidding.
Literally. Because not you being the dog sitter.
I promise you, he never said this, but I promise you, I don't think this girl's getting paid too. I don't. I don't either. I really don't. And that's the thing. Now I have issues because now I'm like, he can't have dogs. He cannot have hair. I need waves only. Okay. I don't need nobody, no retwisting, no Travis Scott braid.
That's a whole nother thing.
No locks.
Oh my God.
Nothing. No dogs. Okay. If you have dogs, listen, your dogs need to go to an actual dog daycare like Travis Kelce's dogs.
Or family or something.
Right. They go to this actual dog daycare and they'll always be tagging Travis in their posts. Like when they go on field trips, y'all. They be going to the Kansas.
Okay. See.
They they go like caroling the dogs. Like his dogs go to an actual place. Like, if you have dogs, I need you to go to professional. I mean, I need them to be licensed at the Better Business Bureau. Okay.
Right.
I need a real job. Okay. Right. So I'm always like, you got what? No, I'm okay. Like those things, you don't need no housekeepers. I'll come clean and cook for you what you need.
Right.
How often you need these dishes done, these clothes in the laundry. Like, I'm not doing it. No. So yes. No, it's those two roles. We're not doing it anymore.
Not doing it.
Well, thank you so much, Janaa, for coming on here. We appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Be sure to check out the next episode coming up, you guys. Remember, we do post on Fridays. And be sure to follow the Instagram at KC Locker Room Talk. If you have any questions, any stories, any advice, you can always look on my personal LinkedIn tree or the podcast LinkedIn tree. And it can press ask a question. Or you could also just DM the accounts too. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys next time. Bye. Bye.